21 Black R&B legends who were drunk all the time. What if some of the biggest names in black music history were fighting devastating battles while the world applauded their success? Behind the sold-out concerts, platinum records, and legendary performances were painful struggles with addiction, personal demons, and life-changing hardships that many fans never saw. From David Ruffin and Ray Charles to Rick James and Etta James, these artists helped define generations while carrying burdens hidden behind the spotlight. Some overcame their struggles while others paid a heartbreaking price. Stay until the end, because one story may completely change how you view a music legend. Before we begin, subscribe to Golden Black Legends and tell us in the comments which artist's story shocked you the most. David Ruffin. David Ruffin's voice was one of the defining sounds of classic soul music, yet behind the fame stood a man fighting battles that audiences rarely saw. Born in Mississippi in 1941, Ruffin grew up in a deeply religious environment where gospel music shaped his powerful vocal style. When he joined the Temptations in 1964, everything changed. His gritty emotional voice helped transform the group into international superstars. Songs such as My Girl Ain't Too Proud to Beg Beauty, Is Only Skin Deep, and I Wish It Would Rain became timeless classics, selling millions of records and helping define the Motown era. As success grew, so did pressure. Ruffin enjoyed the rewards of fame but struggled with the demands that came with it. Constant touring, celebrity status, and personal challenges gradually pushed him toward substance abuse. By the late 1960s, tensions within the Temptations had intensified. Missed rehearsals, unpredictable behavior, and growing dependence on drugs created conflicts that eventually led to his dismissal from the group in 1968. Even after leaving, Ruffin remained a remarkable performer. He launched a solo career and continued attracting devoted fans who admired his unmistakable voice. However, personal struggles often overshadowed his musical achievements. Throughout the 1970s and 1980s, he faced recurring battles with addiction that affected both his career and personal life. Despite these difficulties, he never lost the vocal power that made him famous. Many fans remember Ruffin not only for his talent but also for his resilience. He continued performing, recording, and reconnecting with audiences whenever opportunities arose. Yet the physical toll of years of substance abuse became increasingly difficult to overcome. In 1991, David Ruffin died at the age of 50. His passing marked the loss of one of soul music's most distinctive voices. Today, his story serves as both a celebration of extraordinary talent and a reminder of how fame cannot always protect artists from personal struggles. Decades later, his recordings remain essential, listening for anyone who wants to understand the emotional heart of classic R&B. Etta James. Few artists embodied both triumph and struggle as completely as Etta James. Born Jamesetta Hawkins in Los Angeles in 1938, she entered the world under difficult circumstances and spent much of her childhood searching for stability. Music became her refuge. Blessed with a powerful voice capable of delivering gospel, blues, soul, jazz, and rock influences with equal conviction, she emerged as one of the most versatile singers of the 20th century. Her breakthrough came during the 1950s. But it was songs such as At Last I'd Rather Go Blind, Tell Mama, and Something's Got a Hold on Me that cemented her place in music history. Unlike many performers who specialized in a single style, Etta moved effortlessly between genres. Her voice could be tender and vulnerable, one moment fierce and commanding the next. Audiences connected with her honesty because every performance felt deeply personal. Behind that success, however, existed years of personal turmoil. Etta openly discussed her struggles with addiction, particularly heroin, which affected her life and career for extended periods. She faced legal troubles, health problems, and repeated attempts at recovery. Unlike many celebrities who hid their difficulties, she later spoke candidly about them, offering a rare glimpse into the challenges many performers experience behind the spotlight. What makes Etta James remarkable is not simply that she struggled, but that she repeatedly found the strength to return. Through rehabilitation, determination, and an enduring love for music, she rebuilt her career and earned renewed respect from critics and fans. Her later years brought Grammy Awards, industry honors, and recognition as one of the greatest vocalists in American history. When Etta James passed away in 2012 at age 73, the world lost a voice unlike any other, yet her legacy extends beyond her recordings. She represents resilience, survival, and the power of music to express pain that words alone cannot capture. Even today, her songs continue to move listeners, proving that true artistry can outlive every hardship. Ray Charles. Ray Charles was more than a musician. He was a revolutionary figure who changed the sound of American music forever. Born in Georgia in 1930 and raised in poverty in the segregated South, Charles endured hardship from an early age. At the age of 7, he lost his sight, a devastating challenge that might have ended another person's dreams. Instead, it became part of the determination that drove him toward greatness. By combining gospel blues, jazz, and rhythm and blues, he helped create what the world would later recognize as soul music. Throughout the 1950s and 1960s, Ray Charles produced a remarkable string of hits, including What Did I Say?, Georgia on My Mind, Hit the Road, Jack and I Can't Stop Loving You. His unique style broke musical barriers and attracted audiences across racial and cultural lines. Few performers possessed his ability to pour raw emotion into every note. His recordings sold millions of copies, and his influence extended to virtually every major soul artist who followed. Yet behind the success was a man carrying deep emotional scars. The childhood trauma of witnessing his younger brother drown and later losing his sight remained with him throughout his life. Charles openly struggled with heroin addiction for many years, a battle that threatened both his health and career. In the 1960s, he faced legal consequences related to drug possession and eventually entered treatment. Unlike many artists who never recovered from addiction, Charles successfully rebuilt his life and continued creating music at the highest level. What makes his story so powerful is not simply his talent, but his resilience. He overcame obstacles that seemed impossible and transformed personal pain into artistic brilliance. When Ray Charles died in 2004 at age 73, he left behind a catalog that reshaped American music. His legacy remains a testament to perseverance, proving that even the deepest struggles can be transformed into something beautiful and enduring. Rick James. Rick James lived a life that was as explosive as the music he created. Born James Ambrose Johnson Jr. in Buffalo, New York in 1948, he emerged as one of the most influential funk artists of the late 20th century. Combining funk, soul rock, and an unforgettable stage presence, he built a career that challenged conventions and redefined entertainment. His image was bold, his personality larger than life, and his music impossible to ignore. James achieved massive success during the late 1970s and early 1980s with hits such as Super Freak, Give It to Me Baby Mary Jane, and Cold Blooded. His albums sold millions of copies, and his influence extended far beyond funk music. Decades later, artists across hip-hop, R&B, and pop continued sampling and referencing his work. At his peak, Rick James was one of the most recognizable figures in American music. However, fame brought destructive habits that gradually overshadowed his achievements. James struggled with cocaine addiction for many years, a problem he later discussed publicly. As substance abuse intensified, legal troubles followed. The 1990s became particularly difficult, marked by arrests, court cases, and damage to his public image. Many observers watched as one of music's brightest stars appeared to lose control of his personal life. Yet the story did not end there. Despite setbacks, James continued recording, performing, and reconnecting with audiences who admired his creativity. His music never lost its energy, and his influence never disappeared. Younger generations discovered him through samples, documentaries, and renewed appreciation for funk music's golden era. When Rick James died in 2004 at age 56, reports revealed multiple health issues contributing to his death. His life remains a cautionary tale about the dangers of addiction, but it is also a story of extraordinary innovation. Today, he is remembered not only for controversy, but for helping shape modern music with a sound and style unlike anyone else. Marvin Gaye. Marvin Gaye possessed one of the most beautiful voices ever recorded, yet behind that voice existed a man struggling with pain, fear, and inner conflict. Born in Washington, D.C. in 1939, Gaye grew up in a strict and often turbulent household dominated by a demanding father. Music became both an escape and a source of identity. After joining Motown Records, he quickly developed into one of the label's most successful artists, creating songs that combined romance, spirituality, and social awareness. His catalog includes some of the most celebrated recordings in music history. What's Going On, Mercy Mercy Me? Let's Get It On. Sexual Healing and countless other hits transformed him into an international icon. The album, What's Going On in particular, changed expectations for soul music, proving that popular music could address war, poverty, environmental concerns, and social injustice without sacrificing commercial success. Despite enormous achievements, Marvin Gaye's personal life was filled with turmoil. He battled depression, financial difficulties, relationship problems, and substance abuse. Cocaine addiction became a serious issue during portions of his career, affecting both his health and emotional well-being. Friends and colleagues often described a sensitive man overwhelmed by pressures that fame could not solve. What made Gaye extraordinary was his ability to transform suffering into art. His recordings frequently reflected his personal struggles, allowing listeners to connect with emotions that felt deeply human and universal. Even during difficult periods, he continued creating music that resonated across generations. Tragically, his life ended in 1984 when he was shot and killed by his father one day before his 45th birthday. The loss stunned the world and robbed music of one of its greatest voices. Today, Marvin Gaye remains a symbol of artistic brilliance and emotional honesty. His story reminds us that even those who seem blessed with extraordinary gifts can carry invisible burdens. His music endures because it speaks directly to the hopes, fears, and dreams that unite us all. James Brown. James Brown's influence on music is so immense that it is nearly impossible to imagine soul, funk, or modern R&B without him. Born in South Carolina in 1933 and raised in extreme poverty during segregation, Brown's early life was marked by hardship, instability, and survival. Yet from those difficult beginnings emerged a performer whose energy, discipline, and creativity would earn him the title the Godfather of Soul. Through classics such as Papa's Got a Brand New Bag, I Got You, I Feel Good, It's a Man's World, and Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud, he became one of the most influential artists of the 20th century. Brown's success was built on relentless determination. He demanded perfection from himself and his band, often imposing standards that few could meet. However, the pressure he placed on himself also contributed to personal struggles. Throughout different periods of his life, Brown battled substance abuse, legal problems, and emotional turmoil. His highly publicized 1988 arrest became one of the most difficult moments of his career, damaging the image of a man who had once seemed unstoppable. Yet reducing James Brown to his controversies would ignore the larger story. He was a pioneer who empowered Black audiences, inspired countless musicians, and helped create the foundation of modern funk. His rhythms influenced everyone from Michael Jackson to hip-hop producers decades later. Even when personal difficulties threatened his legacy, he continued performing and remained committed to entertaining audiences. When James Brown died in 2006 at age 73, the world lost more than a singer. It lost a cultural force whose influence extended far beyond music. His life reflected both extraordinary achievement and human vulnerability. Though he struggled with personal demons, his contributions remain unmatched. Today, every energetic stage performance, every funk groove, and every artist who combines rhythm with social pride owes something to the remarkable legacy of James Brown. Donny Hathaway. Donny Hathaway possessed one of the most soulful and emotionally moving voices ever recorded. Born in Chicago in 1945 and raised in St. Louis, Hathaway displayed extraordinary musical talent from childhood. Trained in piano composition and vocal performance, he developed a level of musicianship that set him apart from many of his peers. During the 1970s, he became one of the most respected figures in soul music through recordings that combined technical excellence with profound emotional honesty. Songs such as "A Song for You, the Ghetto," "Someday We'll All Be Free," and his unforgettable duets with Roberta Flack established him as a unique artistic voice. Hathaway's performances carried a vulnerability that resonated deeply with listeners. He did not simply sing songs, he communicated pain, hope, and humanity in a way few artists could match. Behind the music, however, Hathaway faced serious mental health challenges. He was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, a condition that caused intense emotional distress and affected both his personal life and career. During certain periods, he struggled with medication management and the psychological burden of his illness. Alcohol and other difficulties sometimes complicated an already challenging situation. Despite these obstacles, Hathaway continued creating remarkable music. His work inspired generations of singers who admired his sincerity and emotional depth. Many musicians consider him one of the greatest vocalists in soul history, even though his catalog is smaller than those of some contemporaries. Tragically, his life ended in 1979 when he died at the age of 33 after falling from a New York hotel. The loss shocked the music industry and left fans wondering what more he might have achieved, yet his legacy remains extraordinary. Donny Hathaway's recordings continue to touch listeners decades later because they reveal genuine human emotion. His story is not only about struggle, but also about brilliance, resilience, and the enduring power of music to express what words alone cannot. Bobby Womack. Bobby Womack's life was filled with triumph, heartbreak, controversy, and survival. Born in Cleveland, Ohio in 1944, he began his musical journey performing gospel music alongside his brothers. Their talent attracted the attention of Sam Cooke, who became both a mentor and a gateway to greater opportunities. By the late 1960s and 1970s, Womack had developed into one of soul music's most respected singer-songwriters, known for his gritty voice and deeply personal songwriting. His catalog includes classics such as Across 110th Street, That's the Way I Feel About Charwoman's Gotta Have It, and If You Think You're Lonely Now. Unlike many performers who relied on polished perfection, Womack's strength came from emotional honesty. His recordings often reflected the hardships he experienced, making his music feel authentic and relatable. Womack's personal life, however, was frequently turbulent. He endured devastating losses, including the deaths of close family members and friends. He also struggled with substance abuse during different stages of his life battles that affected his health and career. Public controversies and personal mistakes further complicated his reputation, often overshadowing his artistic achievements. Yet Womack repeatedly found ways to continue creating music. His resilience allowed him to reinvent himself and reconnect with audiences across multiple generations. Younger listeners discovered his work through sampling, while longtime fans remained loyal to the sincerity that defined his performances. When Bobby Womack died in 2014 at age 70, the music world lost one of its most distinctive voices. His story was far from perfect, but perfection was never what made him special. He represented authenticity, survival, and the ability to transform pain into art. Today, his music continues to resonate because it reflects real life with all its joys, regrets, struggles, and hopes. Teddy Pendergrass. Teddy Pendergrass became one of the most celebrated voices in soul music through a combination of extraordinary talent, charisma, and determination. Born in Philadelphia in 1950, he first gained fame as the lead singer of Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. His powerful vocals helped transform songs such as "If You Don't Know Me by Now", "Wake Up Everybody", and "The Love I Lost" into enduring classics. By the late 1970s, he had launched a successful solo career and become one of the biggest stars in R&B. Pendergrass possessed a stage presence unlike anyone else. His concerts attracted devoted audiences, and his romantic ballads made him a major cultural figure. Hits such as "Close the Door", "Love TKO", and "Turn Off the Lights" sold millions of records and established him as one of the premier soul singers of his era. At the height of his success, it seemed as though nothing could stop his rise. Then tragedy struck in 1982. A devastating automobile accident left him paralyzed from the chest down. The event shocked fans worldwide and instantly changed the course of his life. For many artists, such a setback would have ended a career. Pendergrass, however, refused to surrender. The years following the accident revealed a different kind of strength. He underwent extensive rehabilitation and eventually returned to recording and performing. His determination inspired millions of people facing their own challenges. Rather than allowing tragedy to define him, he transformed adversity into a story of courage and perseverance. When Teddy Pendergrass died in 2010 at age 59, he left behind a legacy far greater than chart success. He was not only an extraordinary singer, but also a symbol of resilience. His journey reminds us that true greatness is measured not only by achievements during success, but also by the courage shown when life becomes most difficult. Billy Preston. Billy Preston was one of the most gifted musicians of his generation. Yet, his story is also one of immense personal struggle hidden behind extraordinary talent. Born in Houston, Texas in 1946 and raised in Los Angeles, Preston displayed remarkable musical ability from childhood. By his teenage years, he was already performing with major artists and earning a reputation as a keyboard prodigy. His talent was so exceptional that he eventually worked alongside legends such as Little Richard, Ray Charles, and later the Beatles. Few musicians could move so effortlessly between gospel, soul, funk, and rock music. Preston's career reached incredible heights during the late 1960s and 1970s. He became the only musician ever credited on a Beatles single, earning recognition on Get Back. His own solo career produced major hits, including Nothing from Nothing, Will It Go Round in Circles, and Outer Space. His energetic keyboard style influenced countless performers and helped shape the sound of modern popular music. Yet beneath the success was a man battling personal pain. Preston struggled for years with substance abuse, including cocaine addiction, which repeatedly interrupted his career. Legal troubles and health problems followed, creating obstacles that prevented him from fully enjoying the rewards of his accomplishments. Despite multiple attempts to rebuild his life, addiction remained a recurring challenge. What makes Preston's story so compelling is that his musical brilliance never disappeared. Even during difficult periods, fellow artists continued seeking his talents because his ability was undeniable. He remained respected throughout the industry for his creativity, professionalism, and unique sound. When Billy Preston died in 2006 at age 59, the music world lost one of its greatest keyboard players. His life reminds us that talent and success do not guarantee happiness or peace. Yet his recordings continue to inspire generations of musicians, ensuring that his remarkable contribution to music history will never be forgotten. George Clinton. George Clinton transformed funk music into a cultural movement unlike anything the world had ever seen. Born in North Carolina in 1941 and raised in New Jersey, Clinton began his career as a songwriter and barber before becoming one of the most innovative figures in popular music. Through Parliament and Funkadelic, he created a musical universe filled with unforgettable characters, imaginative concepts, and groundbreaking sounds that influenced generations of artists. During the 1970s, Clinton stood at the center of the funk revolution. Albums featuring songs such as Flashlight, One Nation Under a Groove, Give Up the Funk, and Atomic Dog changed the direction of black music. His work combined soul rock rhythm and blues and science fiction-inspired storytelling into something entirely new. Parliament Funkadelic became one of the most influential collectives in music history, inspiring future stars across hip-hop, R&B, and electronic music. However, the enormous success came with serious challenges. Clinton openly acknowledged struggles with drug addiction, particularly cocaine, during portions of his career. The rapid growth of his musical empire created financial and personal pressures that became increasingly difficult to manage. Legal disputes, business complications, and substance abuse sometimes threatened the very legacy he had worked so hard to build. Unlike many artists who were ultimately defeated by those struggles, Clinton managed to survive them. He gradually regained control of his life and continued performing well into his later years. His influence only grew as hip-hop producers sampled Parliament Funkadelic recordings hundreds of times, introducing his work to entirely new audiences. Today, George Clinton remains a living legend. His story is not merely about addiction or controversy, but about creativity, survival, and reinvention. More than 50 years after his rise to fame, his music continues to shape popular culture. He proved that even when confronted with personal demons, artistic vision can endure and inspire future generations. Bobby Brown. Bobby Brown became one of the defining faces of modern R&B, but his journey through fame was anything but simple. Born in Boston, Massachusetts in 1969, Brown first gained attention as a member of New Edition, one of the most successful young groups of the 1980s. His confidence, charisma, and natural stage presence quickly made him stand out. After leaving the group, he launched a solo career that would turn him into one of the biggest stars of his generation. His 1988 album Don't Be Cruel became a massive commercial success, producing hits such as My Prerogative, Every Little Step, and Roni. The album sold millions of copies and helped define the sound of contemporary R&B. Brown's energetic performances and rebellious image resonated with young audiences across America. At his peak, he seemed unstoppable, yet success brought enormous pressure. Throughout the years, Brown faced highly publicized struggles involving alcohol, substance abuse, and legal issues. His personal life often became headline news, particularly during his marriage to Whitney Houston. Media attention frequently focused on controversy rather than his musical achievements, creating a public image that sometimes overshadowed his talent. Despite setbacks, Brown repeatedly demonstrated resilience. He continued performing, recording, and reconnecting with fans who appreciated his contributions to music. His influence can still be heard in the work of many contemporary R&B and pop artists who followed his path. What makes Bobby Brown's story significant is not simply his success or his struggles, but his ability to keep moving forward despite immense public scrutiny. Unlike many artists who disappeared after difficult periods, Brown remained connected to music and to the audience that supported him from the beginning. Today, he is remembered as a pioneer who helped reshape modern R&B. His journey reflects both the rewards and dangers of fame, offering a powerful reminder that even the brightest stars face challenges hidden from public view. Sam Cooke. Sam Cooke's voice carried a warmth and elegance that changed popular music forever. Born in Mississippi in 1931 and raised in Chicago, Cooke began singing gospel music as a child before emerging as one of the most important crossover artists in American history. At a time when racial barriers limited opportunities for black performers, he successfully reached audiences of every background while maintaining artistic integrity and cultural pride. His transition from gospel to secular music transformed the industry. Songs such as You Sent Me Cupid, Wonderful World, Chain Gang, and A Change Is Gonna Come established him as one of the greatest vocalists of all time. More than just a singer, Cook was also a businessman who understood the importance of ownership and creative control. His efforts helped inspire future generations of Black artists to take greater control of their careers. Although he enjoyed enormous success, Cook's life was not without challenges. The pressures of fame, relentless touring, and constant public attention created stress that followed him throughout his career. While stories about alcohol occasionally appeared around his nightlife activities, his legacy is far more connected to his groundbreaking artistry and business vision than to personal excess. The most tragic chapter of his story arrived in December 1964 when he was shot and killed at the age of 33 in Los Angeles. The circumstances surrounding his death remain controversial and continue to generate discussion decades later. Regardless of differing opinions, his passing shocked the world and ended one of the most promising careers in music history. What remains undeniable is the impact he left behind. Sam Cooke helped open doors for countless artists while creating songs that continue to resonate generations later. His music still sounds fresh because it speaks to universal emotions of love, hope, struggle, and dignity. Even after more than 60 years, his voice remains one of the most powerful in American music history. Joe Tex. Joe Tex built a career on personality, humor, and honesty, becoming one of the most distinctive voices in soul music. Born Joseph Arrington Jr. in Texas in 1935, he spent years pursuing success before finally breaking through in the 1960s. Unlike many singers who relied primarily on vocal power, Tex captivated audiences with storytelling, wit, and a style that blended soul, funk, and spoken word performance. His rise to fame included hits such as Hold What You've Got, Skinny Legs, and All I Gotcha, and Ain't Gonna Bump No More with No Big Fat Woman. These recordings showcased his ability to entertain while addressing everyday experiences with humor and authenticity. His energetic stage performances earned him a devoted fan base and made him one of the most memorable entertainers of his era. Behind the success, however, were personal struggles. Joe Tex experienced periods of heavy drinking and emotional challenges that affected different parts of his life. Friends and colleagues often described him as a complex individual whose confidence on stage sometimes contrasted sharply with the private battles he faced away from public view. Unlike some performers whose careers ended abruptly, Tex repeatedly reinvented himself. He explored spiritual interests, stepped away from the spotlight at times, and later returned to music with renewed energy. His willingness to evolve helped him remain relevant across changing musical landscapes. When Joe Tex died in 1982 at age 49 following a heart attack, soul music lost one of its most original personalities. His influence can still be heard in artists who blend singing, storytelling, and humor into their performances. Though his name is sometimes overlooked in discussions of soul music's greatest stars, his contribution remains significant. Joe Tex proved that authenticity and individuality could be just as powerful as vocal perfection, leaving behind a legacy that continues to inspire listeners today. Johnny Taylor. Johnny Taylor earned the nickname the Philosopher of Soul because few singers could tell stories through music as effectively as he could. Born in Crawfordsville, Arkansas in 1934, Taylor began his musical journey in gospel music before making the transition into rhythm and blues. His powerful voice, combined with a natural gift for storytelling, helped him become one of the most respected performers of the soul era. Throughout a career spanning several decades, he consistently adapted to changing musical trends while maintaining the authenticity that made him special. His breakthrough arrived during the 1960s after joining the legendary Stax Records roster. Songs such as Who's Making Love Jodie's Got Your Girl and Gone and Take Care of Your Homework transformed him into a major star. Taylor's music often reflected real-life situations, making his recordings relatable to ordinary listeners. During the 1970s, he continued producing successful records and remained a major figure in soul music. Despite commercial success, Taylor faced personal challenges that included periods of heavy drinking and the pressures associated with constant touring. Like many performers of his generation, he struggled to balance fame with personal well-being. The demands of the music industry often created emotional strain that was difficult to escape. Yet Johnny Taylor's resilience remained remarkable. Even as musical tastes shifted and newer artists emerged, he continued recording and performing. His 1976 hit Disco Lady became the first single ever certified platinum by the RIAA, proving his ability to evolve with the times. Few soul singers successfully navigated so many different eras. When Johnny Taylor died in 2000 at age 66, the world lost one of soul music's finest storytellers. His recordings remain treasured because they captured everyday emotions with honesty and warmth. Today, his legacy endures through timeless songs that continue to resonate with audiences who appreciate genuine soul music. Wilson Pickett. Wilson Pickett possessed one of the most explosive voices ever heard in soul music. Born in Alabama in 1941, he grew up in a challenging environment that helped shape the intensity and passion that later defined his performances. From gospel beginnings to international stardom, Pickett built a reputation as a singer capable of electrifying audiences with pure energy. His voice became one of the defining sounds of Southern soul during the 1960s. His rise to fame included unforgettable classics such as In the Midnight Hour, Mustang Sally Land of 1000 Dances, and 6, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. These songs combined rhythm, emotion, and raw power in a way that few performers could match. Pickett's recordings sold millions of copies and helped establish Atlantic Records as a dominant force in soul music. His influence extended far beyond his own era, inspiring generations of singers across multiple genres. However, life away from the microphone was often turbulent. Pickett struggled with alcohol abuse and legal problems during different periods of his life. His fiery personality, which energized his music, sometimes created difficulties in personal relationships and public situations. Fame amplified those challenges, making it difficult to escape negative headlines. Despite setbacks, Pickett remained a respected performer for decades. He continued touring and recording, earning recognition for his contributions to American music. Fellow artists frequently cited him as one of the greatest soul vocalists of all time. His ability to communicate excitement and urgency through song remained unmatched. When Wilson Pickett passed away in 2006 at age 64, soul music lost one of its most dynamic figures. His story reflects both extraordinary talent and personal struggle. Yet what endures most is the music. Decades after his greatest hits first appeared, listeners still respond to the same passion and energy that made Wilson Pickett a legend. Betty Wright. Betty Wright's career was built on determination, honesty, and remarkable talent. Born in Miami, Florida, in 1953, she entered the music industry as a teenager and quickly proved she was capable of standing alongside the biggest names in soul and R&B. Her powerful voice and emotional delivery helped her establish a unique identity during a highly competitive era for female performers. Her breakthrough came with songs such as Clean Up Woman, Tonight Is the Night, and No Pain, No Gain. These recordings showcased her ability to combine vulnerability with strength, creating performances that felt deeply personal. Wright's music resonated with listeners because she sang about real-life experiences that many people understood. Her authenticity became one of her greatest strengths. Unlike some artists who enjoyed brief moments of fame, Wright remained active throughout her life. She became a respected songwriter, producer, and mentor, helping younger performers navigate the music industry. Her influence extended beyond her own recordings, shaping future generations of R&B artists. Although her life was not defined by the severe addictions that affected some of her contemporaries, Wright openly discussed the pressures of fame and the emotional challenges that came with maintaining a career in entertainment. She witnessed many friends and colleagues struggle with substance abuse and often emphasized the importance of perseverance and personal responsibility. When Betty Wright died in 2020 at age 66, tributes poured in from across the music world. She was remembered not only for her hits, but also for her generosity, wisdom, and commitment to helping others succeed. Her legacy continues through timeless recordings and the countless artists she inspired. Betty Wright's story is ultimately one of resilience, proving that lasting success is built on talent, integrity, and determination. Percy Sledge. Percy Sledge achieved something that every artist dreams of: creating a song that would live forever. Born in Alabama, in 1940, Sledge worked ordinary jobs while pursuing music in his spare time. His humble beginnings made his eventual success even more remarkable. Blessed with a voice filled with sincerity and emotion, he possessed an ability to connect with listeners that could not be taught or manufactured. His life changed dramatically in 1966 with the release of "When a Man Loves a Woman." The song became an international sensation, reaching #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and earning a permanent place in music history. Even decades later, it remains one of the most beloved soul ballads ever recorded. The recording's emotional honesty reflected real experiences from Sledge's life, which helped explain its powerful impact. Despite such an extraordinary achievement, maintaining that level of commercial success proved difficult. Like many artists associated with one iconic song, Sledge spent much of his career living in the shadow of his greatest hit. He continued recording and touring, but changing musical trends gradually reduced his mainstream visibility. Throughout different stages of his life, Sledge faced challenges involving alcohol and the pressures that often accompany fame. The emotional demands of constant travel and public expectations were burdens shared by many performers of his generation. Yet he remained committed to music and continued connecting with audiences around the world. When Percy Sledge died in 2015 at age 73, he left behind a legacy that transcended chart positions and awards. His voice captured emotions that millions of people recognized in their own lives. More than half a century after his signature song first appeared, it continues to move listeners. Percy Sledge's story reminds us that true soul music is timeless because it speaks directly to the human heart. Solomon Burke. Solomon Burke's voice carried the weight of experience, faith, and emotion, making him one of the most influential figures in soul music history. Born in Philadelphia in 1940, Burke grew up immersed in gospel traditions and began preaching while still a child. Long before he became a recording star, he was already captivating audiences through his powerful speaking and singing abilities. That unique combination of spirituality and musical talent would later become the foundation of his extraordinary career. During the 1960s, Burke emerged as one of the defining artists of Atlantic Records. Songs such as "Cry to Me If You Need Me," "Everybody Needs Somebody to Love," and "Got to Get You Off My Mind" helped establish the blueprint for modern soul music. His performances blended gospel passion with rhythm and blues intensity, influencing countless artists who followed. Many historians consider him one of the architects of soul, even though he never received the same commercial recognition as some of his contemporaries. Despite his success, Burke faced numerous personal and professional challenges. The music industry often failed to reward him fairly for his contributions, leading to frustrations that followed him throughout his career. He also struggled with health issues and periods of financial difficulty, despite his influence on popular music. Like many artists of his generation, he faced enormous pressure while trying to maintain both a career and a large family. Yet Burke never lost his resilience. He continued performing across multiple decades, earning renewed respect from younger audiences and critics. His remarkable comeback in the 2000s introduced his music to a new generation and reaffirmed his status as a legendary performer. When Solomon Burke passed away in 2010 at age 70, the world lost one of soul music's most powerful voices. His legacy extends far beyond chart success. He helped create a genre-inspired generations of musicians and proved that true soul comes from lived experience. His recordings remain timeless because they speak directly to the deepest human emotions. Gil Scott-Heron. Gil Scott-Heron was more than a musician. He was a poet, social commentator and visionary whose words challenged listeners to think about the world around them. Born in Chicago in 1949 and raised in both Tennessee and New York, Scott-Heron developed a sharp awareness of social issues from an early age. His intelligence, creativity, and fearless honesty helped him become one of the most influential voices of the 20th century. During the 1970s, he gained recognition through groundbreaking works such as The Revolution Will Not Be Televised, Johannesburg Winter in America, and Angel Dust. Combining spoken word poetry with soul jazz and funk influences, he created a style that would later inspire hip-hop artists around the world. His music addressed racism, poverty, addiction, political corruption, and inequality long before such topics became common in mainstream entertainment. Behind his artistic brilliance, however, Scott-Heron struggled with substance abuse for many years. Addiction repeatedly interrupted his career and contributed to legal and financial difficulties. There were periods when his remarkable talent seemed at risk of being overshadowed by personal challenges. Yet even during those difficult years, his work retained its relevance and power. What made Scott-Heron unique was his willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. He used music not simply to entertain, but to educate, provoke discussion, and encourage reflection. Many of the themes he explored decades ago remain relevant today, which is why his influence continues to grow. When Gil Scott-Heron died in 2011 at age 62, many artists paid tribute to the man who helped lay the foundation for conscious rap and socially aware music. His story is one of genius struggle and lasting impact. Though his battles with addiction were real, so was his extraordinary contribution to culture. Today, he remains one of the most important and influential voices in modern black music history. Z.Z. Hill. Z. Hill possessed one of the smoothest voices in Southern soul, yet his name is often overlooked when discussions focus on the genre's greatest performers. Born Arzell Hill in Texas in 1935, he grew up surrounded by gospel and blues influences that would later shape his distinctive sound. From the beginning of his career, Hill demonstrated an ability to combine emotional depth with polished vocal delivery, earning admiration from audiences and fellow musicians alike. Throughout the 1960s and 1970s, Hill recorded a series of respected soul and rhythm and blues records. While he enjoyed moderate success during those years, his greatest commercial breakthrough arrived much later. In 1982, he released the album Down Home Blues, a project that revitalized traditional Southern soul at a time when many believed the style had faded from popularity. The title track became a massive success within the blues and soul community, helping introduce his music to a broader audience. Hill's achievement was particularly significant because it proved that authentic Southern soul still had a place in the marketplace. His recordings resonated with listeners who appreciated honest storytelling and heartfelt performances. For many fans, he became a symbol of the genre's enduring strength. Like many performers who spent decades on the road, Hill faced personal challenges and the physical demands of constant touring. The pressures of maintaining a career in a rapidly changing industry were considerable. Nevertheless, he remained committed to his music and continued performing for devoted audiences. Tragically, his resurgence was short-lived. In 1984, Z.Z. Hill died from a heart attack at the age of 48. His passing came just as he was experiencing renewed popularity and recognition. Today, he is remembered as one of Southern soul's most authentic voices, an artist whose music preserved the spirit of a genre that continues to inspire listeners around the world. As we've seen, behind the famed chart-topping records and standing ovations were real people fighting battles that fans rarely knew about. From David Ruffin and Etta James to Ray Charles, Rick James, and Bobby Womack, these legendary artists helped shape the sound of black music while struggling with addiction, personal pain, and the heavy burden of fame. Their stories remind us that talent does not make anyone immune to hardship. But here's the question: which artist's journey was the most heartbreaking and whose legacy deserves even greater recognition today? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for Golden Black Legends for more powerful stories from music history.